Ladies and gentlemen, your hosts, Michael Wilkes, Angel Ortiz, Dr. Chad, and Sam La Cavera. Go check out beardedbrowns.com and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
Happy birthday, guys. Happy birthday, Bearded Browns podcast. You are 3 years old. You're walking, you're eating solid food. You're probably potty trained at this point. Hopefully, if not, your parents have failed you at life, right?
I was just gonna say, look at these toddlers up here.
It's changing my diaper.
Yeah.
So funny you should mention, because you just played the intro video, which we've had for a really long time, and I actually look like a little bit more like the toddler that I look in the intro video after this week shaving off. After shaving for the draft, the whole thing.
Yeah. 3 years old, man. 3 years celebrated on the draft night, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Our draft night party at PJ McIntyre's with West Park Brown backers. It was a fun night, but we got to celebrate 3 years without knowing it until today. And then we realized, wow, man, we're 3 years old as a podcast, and a lot accomplished and a lot more to get done. That is for sure. Right, Mike?
Absolutely. It never stops. The grind never stops, right?
Because your team. Football is a 12-month sport because they got all this crap they want to announce every month. Yeah.
Almost.
So
they drag this talk about so long.
Yeah. So I just want to say happy birthday, a happy anniversary to you guys. You guys worked hard for 3 years, and we're grinding. We're growing on socials. We're getting asked to do lives at bars, and people are liking what we're putting out. So congratulations to us on 3 years, and congratulations on everyone's success, man. I think it's well deserved.
The biggest bummer is doing all these shows at bars, and we're all sober now. What the hell, man?
Hey, man.
Ironically, I'm not sober, and I can't make any of the shows at bars. Because I was just like, can you bring a round for the show?
Chance the show. I had a next topic here. Ernest, we have a big announcement today, booked through big shout out to the Tuscarawas Browns backers, man, for hooking us up with this contact. And Mike got to call Ernest Biner next week. We're gonna get Ernest Biner next week. He's going to come on the show. He's going to talk about something that he's doing from entrepreneurial perspective, his popcorn and other things that he has going on. We're going to talk about the Browns, obviously, his time with the Browns and the draft. So you guys tune in tomorrow, next week, 7:30. We're going to be on here talking to Ernest Biner. The earliest running back I remember as a Browns fan is him and Kevin Mack. So it's going to be pretty cool to see him on our screen and interviewing him.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. I talked to him today on the phone, and great guy for sure. He was messing with me. He got me pretty good. But we will definitely have popcorn on a show next Tuesday. I'll tell you that.
That was kind of funny when you told me that. I'm like, he did his what? At first, I thought you said he started his own podcast, and I misheard what you said. And I'm like, oh, cool, popcorn. All right, sweet. That's cool. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun to do, fun to watch, and it's one of those things you can talk to my dad about. I was like, hey, Dad, I got to talk to Ernest Biner about football and popcorn. He's selling popcorn. You should go buy it. It's going to be great. On to the next order of business. Draft party, man. Draft night was fun. PJ McIntyre's, man. We did it live there. We had a lot of people. Gave away some raffle tickets, some prizes. Cleveland Ketchup was there. Dan from Bearded Bastard Barbecue Sauce. It was, for me, I I talked for about 4 hours. The next day, man, I tried to like record some content. I was like, I can't do it. I sounded like I sounded like a Barry White, just just deep voice, scratchy. It was horrible. But how did you guys how did you guys view it?
First, I want to thank everybody that did come out. Big shout out to PJ McIntyre's and the West Park Browns backers and everybody else that was there. We had a great night. It was a great night for sure. And we all had a lot of fun. All the raffles were a blast. I grabbed the mic when I wasn't on the show because I was slinging raffle tickets. But it was fun because I got the house mic. So I was actually going through the whole bar yelling at people. And thank you to Allstate as well for coming out. It was a good time, man. I was super excited, super glad it's over because we don't have to see mock drafts. I thought for James Frank sent me one already, so
I've seen some people put up for 2027 already. I'm like, wow, bro. Just wow.
I know a lot of these draft analysts, their big thing is about a week or so after the draft is to release their number one 2027 mock, and I'm like, so crazy that like you said, it's a 12-month NFL season. Well, it's also a complete 12-month draft season, because if they're starting to put together scouting reports and draft and mock drafts now before like these players are even signed or in rookie camp. Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah, I did forget.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
PJ's was good. I had a good time. Really busy, man. I mean, that place was slap full of people, and I never got a chance to go downstairs. There was people downstairs too, and I never got a chance to look down there. So upstairs was quite a lot of people. Me, Angel, Mike, Gary, up there trying to talk to each other. It was so loud, we couldn't hear each other.
Yeah.
It was really good. Cleveland Ketchup, I talked with. It was kind of funny too, because I had mentioned to Dan Eipert, Bearded Bastards barbecue sauce. I mentioned to him, I said, hey man, sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you as much as I wanted to. It was the first time we ever met him in person. And I said, did you get a chance to talk to Cleveland Ketchup? He goes, actually I did. I said, sweet. I said, because my vision was like, get you guys together, maybe you guys can work on something. And he kind of told me, he goes, we kind of did talk, and we're thinking about maybe doing one of my sauces and then them doing the chips, and we'll combine one of my sauces into a chip. And I was like, see, bringing people together and stuff like that, man. It was pretty sweet. So
yeah, local businesses, small businesses. Well, Cleveland Ketchup seems to be grown by the day, but yeah, getting together and doing stuff like that would be great. I did forget that I hopped back on the next day for 2 hours with our new podcast on the Land Media Group, Going Nuclear. Totally forgot about. That's how I was blacked out.
You guys did a terrific job of advertising it on X. It was like, and it got some like retweets and stuff too. I popped on and I was like, oh, okay, we're going. Yeah,
they did pretty good. I thought I was gonna do 20 minutes, but I ended up just staying for the rest of the night. But I was out of it. I don't even remember what I said. I was just saying.
Ethan told me you were on for like 2 hours.
Yeah, it was 2. I was supposed to do 20, but I was on for 2. It was fun though. They have a good little show there. Friday 7, right?
We're gonna figure this out. We have to figure out times because Gary does his Guards Mania show on Thursday nights with Logan, and we are gonna try to figure out how he did Friday because of the draft. He was covering the second round of the draft.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, a fun night, man. We maybe next year, Chad. Most likely, we will be doing it. Maybe you can come out and have some fun with us.
Yeah. I was gonna say if we know ahead of time, I literally will just this year's trip. I think I told you with Japan was scheduled with another couple, and they are teachers, and they basically had to take that week for spring break. But with a little bit more freedom, man, I'm really hoping I can swing that.
Uh-oh. Is that Biner?
Yeah, I'll be right back. Hold on.
Yeah, Ernest Biner's calling Mike.
He hung up.
Live
he's
on
like,
the air.
crap.
Way to go,
He's
Mike.
like,
There
you
you
got
go.
there on
You
show.
took too long showing it off to answer. Now we lost.
No. You know what I think? I told him I was going to send him a link, and he's probably thinking today. I told him today we're doing a draft show, so tomorrow. I mean tonight I'll send him the link, and I'll send him the notes later on throughout the week. What up?
Yeah. Sorry, Biner.
That phone call So, dude, yeah, we'll get back to you right after these messages.
Yeah.
No, it was fun talking. I can't wait for it. And again, PJs, man, thank you guys. West Park Browns backers, you guys put a hell of a show on. That bar is amazing. Tons of room. Got tons of great footage there, man. I put some drone stuff together, and we had some good videos we put out as well. There's going to be more. So,
yeah, some more behind the scenes content's coming. It's going to be sweet. Update on NFL news, other than draft stuff. And MJ Emerson decides to sign with the New Orleans Saints. So he's gone. He's gone.
I thought
man.
that was important to put in, mostly because he's still got a lot of recovery to do, I'm sure. Apparently he either passed a physical or they're comfortable enough with what he's doing. But your first year coming off of really major surgery, I mean, I think the general consensus, and I'd agree with it, is you really got to ease through that year, and you shouldn't expect like early gains. But I just know there's still so many Browns fans, because I was seeing it around the draft and after, who were like, well, still we'll probably bring back Emerson. And I was like, we got to stop locking that in. And now we see like, okay, well, now we can just cross that off. So
yeah.
And we talked, Angel, you and I talked on some of the shows that we did leading up, about the help that they needed in the secondary, because you couldn't count on MJ Emerson being back. And so, they didn't cover everything they need to cover, but hopefully they're set in that room, because we didn't think he'd be back, and now he's officially locked up somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think they end up picking up a couple of UDFAs for nickels anyway, so I think they're going to cover that. But we'll talk more about how the draft went here in a second. Speaking of the draft, Barry's draft video here that we're going to show you, it tells us his mindset behind how they draft this year.
1 second, I'm going to hit one comment, and this is your notice, Chad, right here.
Yeah.
Steve Hemrick says, so Dr. Chad, next year's draft is 422-27 to 424-27. So there's your notice.
Put it on. Put your time in now.
I'll throw it on the calendar now before I forget it.
Google Calendar.
Wow, we know the draft date for next year already?
Yeah, man, those are Browns fans, man. They know the Super Bowl day or 2029, because that's when we're going to be in it.
That is
so.
awesome.
Here's a quick little video of Andrew Berry talking about the outlook on how he drafts, I guess, and as well as some other teams possibly. I'm going to play it real quick.
I think oftentimes the public discourse on the draft focuses on, on need, as if NFL teams go into the draft and saying, hey, look, I'm just going to pick the best, this player, because that's how our roster looks today, when the reality of it is these players, they're longer term investments for your organization.
Long-term investment. So Barry kind of gives you a peek behind the curtain there of how to think next year when it comes to him picking.
He's basically crushing that like draft for need narrative. Not only that, like he's not doing it, but he's just basically stating flat out like the NFL, at least that's not what any draft room is trying to do. And I think that's most of the time true. But sometimes it just lines up that way, depending on your boards.
Yeah, like the Rams, drafting a quarterback. We'll see how that works out for them. Yeah, I think
you're right. They kind of make his point. They're the ultimate. Yeah. They're the ultimate example of that. Like that's not their need, and they're a borderline like Super Bowl level team. But they saw somebody on their board that for their long-term future is the best person they thought they could pick, and they picked him.
Yeah, everybody was like,
politically number 32 on the field.
By the way, you got to be Rams level of an organization to not get crushed for that move. I did see some criticism, but for the most part, people were pretty receptive to it. And I'm like, it must be nice to be McVay and have the success he's had that people are like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Didn't they say, I didn't see it. Didn't they say that when that pick came in, McVay's face looked like that was not what he wanted? I thought I heard that.
I just wasn't sure. You're right. I heard the same thing.
He looked like, what?
I just wasn't sure if that was like a last year's Browns like narrative where they're like, look, they're not even excited they got Mason Graham because they show the room and it's like that's not when they made the actual pick or they've already celebrated or whatever. So I'm just not sure, but I did hear the same thing that McVay looked not excited about it, but I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm texting Ernest back because you don't ignore Ernest Biner. Sorry.
I honestly think, Sam, I honestly think it is realistic. Like the GM and the coach have to work together, but the GM's job is to build the roster and maintain the talent as long as possible. I wouldn't be shocked if in that moment, a coach wants the best possible weapon to get them to the next level this year. And the GM is like, I also want to win the Super Bowl, but I'm looking at the next 5 years, and the coach is looking at right now. You have to think that way as a coach, and you have to think that way as a GM. And if they always agree and they're always in lockstep, I think you probably have a problem.
Yeah, it makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So like you said, though, too, GM's looking for future 4 or 5 years. Coach wants to win. I mean, that's what we want to do right now, too. So
you got to find a balance. You can't have just one or the other, but you got to find a balance. But I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I think you could be onto something. Wouldn't be shocked if McVay would have preferred to spend that pick on a weapon that can help them right now.
Right.
He did say later, I didn't want to disrespect Stafford, but I think that's him kind of like putting out fire because how people respond. And then Andrew Berry did say though today that they knew a week ahead that they were going that Simpson was going to go to the Rams. So if he knew, that means the whole league knew. So that means McVay had a week to stew on it. So I don't know if he was mad. He didn't want to celebrate because he didn't want to disrespect. There's truth to that. But he probably was just mad for a whole week. And when it actually happened, he probably could not hide it on the camera.
Couldn't hide it no more.
But I thought for sure, I mean, they would have took Lemon. That probably would have changed the whole structure of the draft because Philly would have then traded up for another receiver, which Casey Concepcion would be the next. And then one of the Browns who are 24.
Lemon was pinned to them in so many mock drafts because everybody just felt maybe that's a little high for him, but I think everybody felt this is a receiver that just fits the type of receiver they love to pick. And it was like they love the Cooper Kupps, they love their Puka Nakuas. But the difference I've been saying for a while on that is they like to find those guys because they slip sometimes. I didn't know that they were going to be so sold on using a first on something that they keep being able to get in the second to fifth round. Because like a lot of guys sleep on guys that are smaller route runners or play a different type of game.
Yeah, so that was an interesting spot of the draft. But either way, here we are. We got our picks, and some national media had a lot of good to say about it. We're going to start with what McShay had to say in the McShay report.
Don't know if I've ever had more of a promising feeling coming off of an NFL draft than I do right in this moment about the Cleveland Browns. From a personnel standpoint, I don't remember looking at a roster and thinking, oh, they're actually heading in the right direction.
You know what some of that is what they did last year.
I know.
When they got Mason Graham. They got Carson Schlesinger. They really did a good job on the defensive side of the ball. And then
that allowed them
Fannin. Now you're starting to feel like, whoa, these guys might know what they're doing.
And we're stacking some weapons.
We'll see. I know there's a lot of Shador fans out there, and he'll have an opportunity to, again, if he does it, great. But you're looking forward. You think you can get a quarterback in 27.
It didn't matter who was in there last year. They didn't have the cast. So you can't truly evaluate a quarterback until you have the pieces around him, right?
Yep.
You can actually evaluate Shador this year. You couldn't last year.
Yeah.
I agree. I've been saying that all year pretty much, but some people didn't want to agree with that.
Yeah, I still don't agree with it, but to an extent. So I think you can still evaluate. Like I think we evaluated Quinshon Judkins behind an awful offensive line because we take into context like, oh, look what he did even with this line. And I think to a degree you can do that with any quarterback. Like you can say like, oh, look what they were able to do. They could elevate these bad receivers, or they bought themselves time, or they made good reads to get rid of the ball quicker. But I would 100% agree with the idea of like he wasn't going to be good. None of them were going to be good. We were not going to be able to look at him and see like this is what you really have, or this is what you're, what you can think might be a finished product based on the line receivers, injuries to the running backs eventually, and all of those things. So I think he took that to a little higher level than I would, but I don't think anybody can agree that there was a good situation for a quarterback last year. So, but going back to his idea, like I thought this video was cool because it's not like just a draft review. It's kind of them looking at the last 2 drafts and saying both of them look at this situation as elevating, as on the way up, and like a roster that is in a really good place and going in the right direction. And it's interesting to hear that just hasn't been the case for years to look at the Browns roster. And even when they were better a couple years back, you didn't finish a draft and go, yeah, they nailed it. They really set up their future. A lot of times it was like, don't love what they did there. So
yeah,
a lot of reaches, a lot of
reaches,
bad grades,
guys,
a lot of I would have rather taken this guy.
A quick announcement: we might have somebody joining the show tonight. Yeah, I know it's kind of last second, but I'm not gonna be disappointed. There's some things going on. Some things have to be addressed, but we're still gonna have somebody. Come on.
okay.
Well, the
Okay.
suspense, you can't just give suspense like that, man. You gotta.
I gotta give you guys a warning. So that segment there was sponsored by Dick's House of Sport out in Strongsville, guys. Get out to Dick's House of Sport, check them out. They got all kinds of stuff there. We're going to be doing some shows out there live as well. Chad will be with us via stream with those shows, but it's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to doing a lot of work with them. It's going to be great with all the shows actually that are on the Land podcast. Or the Land Media Group. We're going to be doing shows, multiple shows down there. But guys, I want to welcome into the chat for today, Ernest Biner. Right now.
Hey, boom! It's
Hey, what's happening?
What's happening, Ernest? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How you all?
I'm doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good today.
Yeah. I'm crashing the show, baby.
Hey, that's okay, man. You're the perfect guy to crash it. You're the perfect guy to crash it.
Mike was a little cryptic about it. He's like, "Oh, we have to have someone join the show and pause right now." And then it was just like a moment of silence. Like, what is going on here? Welcome to the Bearded Browns.
Right. Thank you. It's good to be here, man. I heard a lot about it.
You're looking pretty good there too, man, with the beard going on over there, Ernest. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Fit
Yeah,
right in with everybody over here.
Yeah, the gray is taking over. I had a little black probably about 3 years ago, but all gone.
You had a good run then, didn't you? You had a good run.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My youngest son's 21. So this is years ago. I started getting my little grays started coming in. But I remember he was little yet. He was probably maybe 9, 10 years old, maybe 11. And I go, yeah, Dad's starting to get them grays in there. And he goes, Dad, them ain't grays. Those are whites. Those are just white. That ain't even gray. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. So, but you look good, sir. You're looking really good, man. How you feeling?
Thank you. I'm blessed. I'm getting treatment for for the concussion stuff, and I go down to Florida and get some exosomes and stem cells, but I'm doing okay. I'm hanging. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have my family around me, wife and grandbabies. As a matter of fact, we kicked all the kids out, but then the grandbabies came back. So, right. But I'm blessed though. I really am. Yeah.
Speaking of blessed, sir, a lot of people know you for what you've done on the field, but not too many people may know here. I did actually. I walked the halls or the aisleway of my local Giant Eagle, and I seen your the original Dogs snacks that you have. So what I would like to ask you, before we get deep into it, what inspired you to get into this food snack industry after such a successful football career?
Yeah, I have no idea, tell you the truth. But we got interested in it probably maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and we had some in like I think it was Marks or something um down, and we had some popcorn then, um and I had to get away from it, but we came back and tried to just get a few things together. I'm interested in business in general, but the popcorn thing was something that was brought to me by a guy named Bob Walker. But we moved on from that, and got with some people around in Cleveland. Um, and then we just got it back going, and John Eagle has been tremendous with us. Pat Scullins is a guy that one of the managers over in John Eagle. He's high up, but he's a Browns fan. He's a Browns fanatic. So we hit it off. We know each other. I've done some appearances with John Eagle, and so we decided to go ahead and give it another shot.
Yeah,
Nice.
I live in Strongsville, Ohio, and the one
So
close to me.
it's in John Eagle.
Yep.
It's in John Eagle in mostly in Northeast Ohio though.
Yeah.
Y'all. I don't know if y'all know this, but John Eagle is. I think they're based in Pittsburgh, which is that territory.
That evil
I
territory,
like to
right?
invade that territory on the field, but off the field, I ain't going there. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
not.
Nope.
I'm not going to mess with those Steeler fans, because they love their boys. So, but we like I said, Pat and I we hit it off. We've done a couple of appearances. I might have to come back up there and do a few
Yeah.
more, but they're working on getting it where we can sell it online. People can order in their carts.
Yep.
But one of the things that we're attempting to do, and forgive me for talking so too much.
Oh, you're good.
Forgive me for this. But this is the last thing I'll say about it. But it's we're getting in touch with the Browns backers up in Northeast Ohio, and trying to get them interested in me coming to one of their locations and doing a show.
Yes.
Doing I do a meet and greet, and we come up with some shows that like ask questions and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
we give away prizes and things like that. So this popcorn, we got one is called Sweet Paws. That is caramel and peanut, and it's the bomb.
That's up my alley. I get into. I get
On the
into
back
that.
of the, well, let's go with here. Cheddar cheese is the other one. I mean, it's got all. I mean, it's got the logo. It's got the original dogs, and the original dogs is a for profit aspect of it. But we also have what is called the Healing Dogs, which is my nonprofit, and we go visit the veterans, which we just did this. We go into the veterans in Cleveland. We go in other places as well, but the one that we did most recently was in Cleveland. We visited them. We had Rusher, which is he's a little dog that's on here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but
Yeah.
Rusher is what we call our healing dog, and we leave Russia with the veterans. We take pictures and all that kind of stuff. We're going to sign them and send them back. But we really are praying over these rushers, and hopefully leaving behind something that will just bring a little light to some of the veterans that are shut in the in their hospital in the VA. So that's
So it's
been a
like
blessing, tell you the
is it
truth.
like
So we're trying to give away these rushers as well. If people buy, like 20 bags of the popcorn, they can get into and then send the raffles in with the Browns backers. Then we'll raffle them off. I'll come up and do a show for them, and we're trying to bless the veterans. We making a little money. We're making a little money off of it, but more than anything, we're trying to fund our nonprofit, which is the Healing Dog. So, long and short, it's a blessing to be able to do it, and it's a blessing to have Giant Eagle with us in this plight.
That's awesome to always giving back. It reminds me of something that I was told by Mr. Bob
Knock
Golick.
them out. They sleep. Everybody sleep.
No,
I can't hear anything. Did I mute something?
No, are you there?
I can't hear anything.
Uh-oh.
Probably muted us.
He probably muted. Did he mute it?
No, he unmuted himself.
Okay.
You good?
Are you back?
Can you hear
Can
us?
you hear us? He must have muted us.
Well, while he's figuring that out for a second, I just put in the chat in the comments for kind of the group that's following along the link to the healingdogs.org, and so
I don't hear anything.
to check that out or donate.
I don't know what's
the link's in the bio, and we'll throw it up on the socials too.
Mike, text him.
I see me.
Yeah, he probably muted.
You might need to tell him to come out and come back.
There we go. I heard something there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Here, let me.
Are you back, Ernest?
It might be a StreamYard issue.
He might have hit his mute button, maybe.
Hold on.
So for those that are wondering where to get his popcorn at, and you're out of Ohio, you can go to theoriginaldogs.com, the original dogs, DAWGS.com. You can go there, and can you hear me? Oh, he's gone. Yeah,
and
he's
to make donations to that nonprofit for the veterans. It's Healing Dogs, HEALINGDAWGS.org.
And he's back. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Are you back?
I can.
Yes.
I can.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was before you cut it out. You cut out, or you couldn't hear us. I was saying part of that always giving back, and it brought me to another guy. I had a conversation with Mr. Bob Golick, and he told me once you're a dog, you're always a dog. He said that's on the field, off the field, and that's just how you conduct yourself. Always. And that kind of reminded me, Ernest, what you're doing here with the Healing Dogs. Always giving back, man. So always a dog and helping out, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's a blessing. Anybody on here is a military?
No,
got somebody that is military, but we respect the military. We go to the juveniles. We deal with juveniles and the homeless with the Healing Dog. So it's a blessing, because once you're giving, you receive. Because all of that's healing, man. All that's healing.
I agree. One last thing on your popcorn before we get. We can change the subject if you want, and we can talk about your popcorn for 3 hours. I have Ernest Biner on the screen. I don't care. I've read that you get memorabilia cards out to with your product. Is that per bag, or do they have to buy a certain quantity to get memorabilia cards?
I give those out with the rushers.
Okay.
If you buy a rusher and a book, you'll get a memorabilia card, but also you get a picture. I'll sign an 8x10, personalize it, to everyone that does that. So Russia, the title of the book is Russia, and it's really about me. Basically, it's stories from my childhood, stories that actually happened. But it's we painted it up or got it drawn up into a kids like book. It's a kids book really, and we try to sell those books in conjunction with a rusher.
Okay.
Okay.
While we're doing business here, we know a
Uh-huh.
guy named Rich. He does the Browns backers in Tuscarawas County in
Yeah,
Dover. Why don't we get you here and you can do the whole, promotion of popcorn, and then we can have you live on our podcast at Tuscarawas with their Browns backer group, most likely shenanigans at their bar, and then we can
Yeah.
just do this all over again face to face.
Yeah, we can work that out.
Hear that, Rich? Set a date.
Yeah.
We need our
Where's
next
Rich?
in.
Where's
He's in
Rich?
the
Is
chat.
he's on? He's in the chat too.
He was
was
going
in the
to
chat.
in the chat.
Yeah,
he was gonna come on next Tuesday with us for a little bit, but you took over the podcast tonight. So
I crashed it. I told him I was gonna crash it.
So yeah, he did put in there in the chat that he would like you to come out. So maybe you guys can work together, and if that happens, maybe we can do a little event there where we can sell some popcorn and get your message out a little more. Because I appreciate the message of giving. I'm big on that. Being a blessing to others.
I want to share a quick comment to you, Ernest, in our comment here. James Frank is one of our main guys that when we started the show, he was always on, and he follows us. He follows us a lot. He's a great guy. He said, he said, I'm not a veteran, but I was homeless, and I just say many people that go out and give help were extremely helpful and show great humility. Part of how I made it out. So what you're doing matters. So I just want somebody to know that.
Yeah, no, that's a blessing, man. I mean, he can be proud of himself for making it out of it, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people get into homes and stuff like that. A lot of people out in the streets, but we try to do our best to support them where we can.
What inspired you to start the foundation? Start the, I would say, ministry.
It's just from my heart, man. Actually, I went to and this is not a good subject with some of the Browns fans, but when I got traded, I went to Washington. I actually got saved, and I went through the process of being baptized. Now, and this was returning to my roots, which I grew up a Southern Baptist. Granny had us in church every Sunday. We were doing Sunday school, but every fourth Sunday, we had church, and I got saved at church. It was I found myself one day just walking up to the pulpit and looking at Granny and not knowing what I was. It was just a spirit that got on me. So so my foundation of Christianity, of church, is there. I got back to that. How you get you kind of not necessarily lose. I didn't lose my way, but I just kind of got away from going to church, and being in church. But when I got there, Tim Johnson, quoted 2 Corinthians.
oh,
Yeah, his internet.
Yeah.
Connection.
Yeah, I think that was wrong with the first time.
it's funny because I know he's sitting there talking to himself. I hate that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
He probably think we're stuck. And while he's talking, he's like, "You guys ain't moving." No, that's
One of the best comments was salute to the Super Tech Mobile legend.
Technical. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Rich is gonna see. Yeah, set that up, Rich. He said he'll come down and do a podcast with. That'll be cool to do. That would be sweet.
Maybe
I don't know.
Get him back on. Maybe we'll get him back on again, man, and then we can get have a nice little quick interview with him again.
Tell him blowing his internet ether. Maybe it's the dust.
Like the
Technical
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shake it.
Well, hey,
things
if you're gonna get an interruption, that's the right kind. That's
he has a grossy
that's
phone.
a very welcome guest for us.
Somebody said, he said he's got a grossy phone.
Grossy phone.
Yeah, Tony Grossi.
That's been a while. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was good. That was good transition there. So Ernest Biner won't be on the podcast next week. He was on this week. Nonetheless, that was
and he'll be at a future event, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do a recording sometime this week. So whichever one of us can get on with him.
That's good stuff.
Well, where were we? I guess.
Mentions comments about the draft. That's where we're at.
Oh yeah. So before we get to that, I would say so we played that Todd McShay clip a couple minutes ago, and basically he was going over how he just feels like the roster build that they've had over the last 2 years, and Mensch agreed, is just one that he's been more optimistic about than he's seen lately. And then he went on to say that the Browns were at the top of his classes. He doesn't give draft grades, but he gives like his favorite classes based on how the board was maneuvered. He's like, I don't like grades because there's so many things that go into it. It's about, did you fill needs? Did you find value in the board? Did you work the board well? Or like, did you pick scared or did you pick patiently? And essentially, like, did you get good talent regardless of position too? He's like, that's just too much to like give a good grade for how much he's looking at. But he basically said that they were kind of one of his absolute top classes for all of those reasons. He thought that Andrew Berry navigated each of those categories well. He added talent, need, he moved around well, he traded back, he traded forward, he got value spots, and he didn't have any like major reaches. And then Mensch came in to say, and he praised especially day one, like stepping back to get the guy you really want and getting a few extra picks. They kind of both agreed that they thought Fano was good enough on at least their evaluation that they didn't even know if he would be there at 6 to 9. They thought they had 2 places earlier that they thought he could actually go. And then I thought it was interesting too, because Mensch went on to say he gave the Browns his number 1 overall spot. And for a different reason, he kind of thought the top of the class in the first round, he loved Harold, or he loved Spencer Fano. And so that helped. And then round 2 goes without saying, but he actually said he really liked their day 3 because there was good talent and positional value and upside value that they got, especially saying that they got 2 more guys on his top 100 very late in the draft. And I just don't think that many people talked much. I think day 1, and especially what they did with the first 4 picks, kind of took the headline, and Mensch was the first person I mentioned, saying that like if you really look down the board, like they got guys that just, highlighted by they liked the tight end Royer,
Cincinnati,
and he said he had Taylon Green like in his top 100, and he's like, these are 2 guys that I had in my top 100 that they got at the absolute bottom of the draft in round 6. That like people just kind of stopped talking about. They started to fall, and people just kind of like, okay. He's like, but they were just sitting there at the top of my board the whole time, waiting like who's going to jump in on them. And the Browns grabbed one, and then I believe traded up to get another. So I thought just all of that combined was like pretty cool to hear the start to finish of that.
No, going in with 9 and coming out with 10's even better.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's like, it's like, man,
very
like this last draft, I was happy. I'm sure you guys, I think consensus can say we were happy with Barry's draft. And then for him to do that again, it's not easy. And time will tell. It's kind of hard to say, with players, what they're going to do because they haven't been out on the professional field level yet. But, the way things went, the things we needed came off that board, and it was dropping down, So, I mean, hats off to him again, man. I went from, I'll share with you real quick. After day 1, I was at a C. By day 2, I was at an A. So, and then it just got better. I've started seeing some of these started seeing more of these picks that we needed. Because we all talked about needing a tight end. We all talked about definitely needing a safety or a cornerback. Got a lot of the what we needed checked off the board. We even said maybe a quarterback at the end of the draft, nothing soon. So I mean, we hit it all. We all hit it. So kitty cat.
Yeah, I do. The Taylor Green was to me. Are we going into this topic of draft talk with us right now? I think so.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Taylor Green to me was like people were celebrating him. Right? They're like, I even think top 100 to me is high, but I mean he does this for a living, so what do I know? But after like really looking into it, like Taylor Green's adjusted passing percentage well, his passing percentage is at 60%, but the adjusted passing percentage, meaning the passes that should have been caught in easy terms, it jumps to 71%. So he was accurate, more accurate than people assume. So for me, I think after reading that and seeing more data on him, I see what Munkin and Barry saw, not just his athletic ability, but if he's hitting receivers that probably suck, right, and they're just dropping it, we put weapons around him, maybe those receivers can actually catch the ball, and maybe his throwing is not as bad as what the tape shows.
Yeah. Dan says he's a developmental quarterback that can make an impact on the offense with specific packages and plays. And then KP Young said Green is our version of Snoop Huntley.
Yeah, I even look at it a little more dynamically than that. They did a interesting
Colin
job
Kaepernick.
Dynamic guys with crazy traits. I would put it this way: I don't have a super high upside grade for him in terms of. I mean, I think I've exhausted the idea that like if you don't pick a quarterback in the first round or definitely in the first like 40 picks, my hope scale is pretty low unless you have somebody that like. I was pretty high in the Sanders pick last year in the 5th round because I thought, well, no matter what, you get a value there. And I kind of feel the same this year. And I don't think he has near the grade at quarterback that people, or including me, would have on Sanders. But I think he has such an athletic profile that he almost gives you the feeling that he can stay as a backup quarterback. He can be some kind of a long-term project at quarterback if the quarterbacks here don't work. But at worst case scenario, he's just a weapon. He's a quarterback. He has a potential to catch passes. He can. Munkin already brought up. We will absolutely try to get him on the field for Wildcat. Like you could do something like that with a running back, but boy, isn't it much more deadly to have somebody who can really wing it, and he's got a strong arm. And so, that makes the downside of a late quarterback pick low for me, because I'm like, if you make him a contributor in any other way, special teams, Wildcat packages, or just eventually developing at quarterback, like that is an awesome way to use a late round pick, because the hit rate on them are so low that having somebody with a high ceiling is just, for me, typically the way to go. And that's what we did with a lot of those later picks. Like Justin Jefferson is like just an athletic guy in a powerhouse that needs a ton of development, but like there's upside there. And you could say the same for Royer. And I think that's where the late part of this draft like got kind of overlooked, because I think most of the excitement happened by, midway through or early on Friday.
Yeah. A lot of people, Dan says Taysom Hill, comparing him to a quarterback. I see Colin Kaepernick. I see just a raw version of Colin. I mean, Colin Kaepernick was still raw, but that dude's got speed. If he can at least be a good backup, I mean, like you said, change of pace. I just think it's funny. I was talking to Mike about this the other day. People was like, "Yeah, bring him in the goal line package, 4-1, like Wildcat." I was like, "Didn't we want a guy fired because of that last year?"
I think
the
difference will be,
and
I think the difference will be like if Sanders becomes the starter, and like his fans aren't like begging for some reason to change the narrative when he's not playing well. Like that's what it was. It was like that was a chance for him to get a touchdown and for us to be able to like kind of brag on him, and you took that away from us. That was a criticism based on like a very selfish motive. because
Well,
it worked most of the time, right? And so people were
Yeah.
like, it's rare to see a group mad that they put in a wildcat and score a touchdown. But I think the more comfortable like Sanders gets in his role here and his kind of place in the NFL, I think that will taper down and people will be okay with it. But
Well, maybe I'll paint a picture. Maybe if maybe this season, and say Sanders starts, say we're winning games, say we're going to the playoffs, that week 17, you sit down, maybe you put that guy in. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
we'll see the breakdown.
Maybe you can use him as a, sit back, develop a little bit, and you never know. I already got big high hopes on things too.
To me, it wouldn't bother me if he doesn't take a snap, but it also wouldn't surprise me if they find some other way to get him out there right away. Right.
Line up as a receiver, like you said. You never know. Some trick.
So we'll go. Yeah, so Barry did get some value. I think it was my draft value chart that I made myself. Thank you very much. The lower end had a minus. The lower value trade was lower, but he ended up with a +2 overall with this trade, which technically, according to my chart, would be like a B+. But I would give him an A specifically because how he handled the first 5 picks. So let's get into that, where that is where the core of the team will be made. What were you guys' take on the first pick, number 9, Fano?
Fano,
correct. Fano for 200.
Correct that on draft day, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was not super impressed with Fano at first. I was not, but the more you see the kid and you watch his highlights and all that, it makes it interesting. It's not a bad pick. I acted at the show like I walked off. I had to go sling tickets, guys. That was my. I was like, oh, I'm so upset about this, and I walked off the stage. But
hard at work.
Yeah, I was out there. I do like it. That's not the guy that I was. My target left guard was, but you win some, you lose some, and this guy is going to hopefully be a big part of this team.
Yeah, Sam.
I was saying in the beginning, man, we knew we needed a tackle, but I wanted a left tackle, and I wanted a true left tackle. And then you get, Spencer Fano came in, and I'm like, man. And then I had to stop for a minute. I'm like, well, I didn't follow all of everything he's done in college, so hang on. I had to stop for a minute, and I went in and I looked, and I go, you know what? He was left tackle in college, and he moved to the right side. You want to know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because Caleb Lemieux came in as a true left tackle, but he couldn't bounce around like Spencer can do. And Spencer says, you know what? For the better of the team, we want the best at the position. So Lemieux came in, strong, true left tackle. Shows that he could. Spencer Fano moved over, and there was their line. There was their ends, their tackles. So that was something that it made me feel better, because now I know that he feels comfortable playing wherever, as to some guys they can't bounce. You know what I mean? They can't do that. So they're not ambidextrous, I should say.
Yeah. Chad.
So I was higher on this pick, I think, than the general public. And what do I say every year when it comes to the draft? Like, don't get your sights set on just one guy. Keep a really open mind on like, where are you picking? Like, and this was tougher for us this year because we were picking 6, and I think every person on this show had some expectation they could trade back, especially if their guy wasn't there or they thought their guy they could get a little later, which is exactly what happened. But I'm always pushing during the draft season, like, don't get too caught up on one guy. Look at like 5 guys surrounding where they pick who are kind of graded and ranked around that spot. So if they're picking, let's just pretend it was 9th to begin with, or even 6th, you should be looking at guys that are on these big boards at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because on their board, any one of those guys could come up, and see who you actually like. Don't just go like, okay, I want a guy that's in the top 6. That's great, but like it really comes down to their top 6. I fortunately just really liked Bono. In fact, I struggled for a little while between Bono and Maui Noah. I think what happened to the Browns fan base was they had free agency. They traded one of their picks this year for Howard, and everybody immediately said, well, Howard's going to play on the right. So now cut out anybody except for these like true left tackles, and it just changed the narrative of what the Browns would be picking. All the mock drafts changed, and I posted a ton on social media leading up to the draft, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. Remember, everybody had Maui Noah or Fano going to the Browns at 6 just before free agency, and now we're acting like these free agents changed everything about the way Barry is looking at these prospects and the view, and it didn't. We'll go over a story later about the draft room because I thought it was a really cool story. And in it, you'll find out not only did they think he was the top tackle, not only they think he was the top lineman, they think he could play left tackle. And whether they're right or not, we'll find out. But like, this was their guy, and I just felt fortunate. I really, really had hoped Tate would fall to 6, and I have to wonder in the back of my mind, is this the direction they would go? But when he came off the board, I spent 2 picks being disappointed. And when they traded back, I was like, well, that's exactly, once Tate came off the board, I was like, I don't see a guy at 6 that fits what they're going to do. They traded back, they got extra picks, and they got a guy that reportedly they were taking at 6. I wouldn't give the pick an A because I do have some questions about it, and it'll have to play out. But I would say the whole scenario of trading back and getting him, I would give that an A.
Yeah, I agree. He once Tate got off the board, I was like, what? Everyone
And that's
was
a
shocked.
shock. The guys that go that high at receiver are guys that have a profile of like a superstar one receiver. I didn't even see consensus that like analysts thought he was definitely a wide receiver 1, let alone going higher than guys like Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, that's high, guys. Like, he really has to be a year 1 over 1,000-yard like stud for people to feel like he earned that pick.
Yeah.
But
so once he got off the board,
surprised. We said it. We said, what's the possibility of
people
Tate
thought
not
it could
being
happen.
there?
Yeah,
You know?
I'm glad we were ready for it, but I was still disappointed.
Yeah, and I was like, I was heavy on him for some reason. I was heavy on him going to Giants, and then Tennessee picked him up, and it even happened earlier. So I'm like, well, there's that, But people were going ballistic at PJ McIntyre's one time.
Yeah, they were crazy, going crazy. And when that happened, I knew the trade back was going to happen for the tackle. So, or left tackle. So I was prepared for it mentally because I felt like you said, Chad, you just see the consensus. Like everybody was like, Lomu, or the other guy, or freaking Proctor. Like everybody was trying to force a tackle or guard.
It was really like, hey, we've got this guy that almost everybody has ranked somewhere between 5 and 10, but his arms are a little short for a left tackle, and that's the only thing that doesn't follow like his movement, his skill set. The only thing that doesn't make him a standard left tackle is his arm length, which apparently is about 33 inches, and would be the lowest size for success. And so people started taking guys that were on most people's boards between 16 and 30 and going, yeah, so then this is the guy then. And I just never saw Andrew Berry being a guy that was going to do that. Why I thought they might wait till later to pick one, because that's why I started leaning towards Tate. Because I'm like, if everybody is so obsessed with them having a true left tackle, then I don't want to pick the tackle first. And then they flipped the script on us, and they flipped it. They did it exactly that way.
Ethan said, what should our biggest takeaway be from these mock drafts, from all these geniuses? I think we learn even the experts only know so much as we do. They just get paid.
Although a lot of people did.
Do it.
If you look at the mock drafts from that week, a lot of people flipped back to Bono,
the original
or Maui Noah, and it came right back to, okay, so we've been talking about these other guys, and we've been talking about these other guys in these spots. And what I see in mock drafts all the time is they place guys based on their board in these mocks, and then later free agency happens and they switch it to needs, and they just start either changing it up for variety or changing it up for just to play around with it. And then the week of, a lot of the picks start shifting back to more of the original conversation. Yeah. But again, they're just guessing mock drafters are guessing, here's a need, here's the highest guy on my board that fits that need, so I'll sling him there. And Barry made that pretty clear. Like, you're not just doing that. You have to like find value. You're looking for value, not just need, because you're building for a lot longer.
I think a lot of them too. You're doing like 80 mock drafts until the draft, so you're just switching things up because you're bored of just plugging in the same two players. And toward the end there, I did see a lot of KC Concepcion on 24 at 24.
It was that last week, like the 3 days leading up to the draft, all of a sudden you started to get that. And I don't know if some people start to finally like leak a little more, or people just really look at their boards and go, dude, these guys aren't going to do this. So
the trade back happened
to the second pick, right?
Yeah. That trade back happened. My perspective, Lemon went off the board. Then we hit, and I thought Cooper Jr. is going to be there. So I'm like, hey, that's my guy. That's my guy. And then KC Concepcion name pops in, and initially I'm thinking like, dang, what? You got a guy with a 20,000% drop rate. I was pretty upset. But then, like Sam, you go back and you calm down, and then you look at the stats the next day and you realize this guy's not as bad as I assumed. Most of his drops were because of his quarterback had a 42% off target rate. So his quarterback sucked. So most of his passes that he probably dropped, he was trying to make a acrobatic play with, or wasn't where the bar should have been. So for me, I got excited when I saw deeper analytics stuff. So for me, I was like, man, that's sweet. So the next day I'm sitting there, it's like, oh, we got a receiver, and then we have our tackle for the future. This is amazing. What do you guys thought?
I want to say something really quick. It was kind of different to see Sam so calm and level-headed, knowing that we picked up Concepcion, and then at the end of the night, he kept on saying, Denzel Boston's still there. He's still there, man. He's still there. Don't worry about it. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. I wasn't, and it's not that it was nothing against Concepcion.
Yeah.
It was just when they pulled the trigger on him and they got him, my thing was another small guy. I was just thinking 5'10", 5'11", small guy again. I'm like, man, like I just didn't want that. I just wanted that bigger body receiver. So I was kind of down about it, but hey, man, it goes, and the story and the show goes on. So it's like, hey, there's their reasons for it, and tomorrow's a new day. So
I really did think of both of you when they made a pick, and so for me, I like, quite frankly, if I were making the pick, I probably would have taken Cooper. But what fortunately, I had them very close. Like I had looked at all the receivers,
me too.
All of them, because I thought we could pick one up at the top, one later, and then me and a lot of us thought like they could take a safety or cornerback later, and then I really need to know the receivers that could be in the top of the second round. So I looked at the receivers all the way through, and I kind of came up with my favorites. And in that area where I thought he would go, like I thought Cooper could be there or taken, Concepcion could be there or taken. And I didn't think Boston would be taken there, but I thought Boston could be available. And so I looked at all three of them really closely. And the two I had really close were Cooper Jr. and Concepcion. And I would have had Boston like just behind them. Like all three of them were legitimate candidates. And the boards that we looked at and the scouting reports agreed. So for me, like I didn't have a hard time with that, because I was like, I kind of would want Cooper here first or Concepcion just after. And like, I just felt like Cooper felt a little safer. Concepcion felt like he has maybe a little more upside. And because of the Browns' history, I think I was like, I feel like safer feels better, right? But I like Concepcion a lot. I actually, after they made the pick, was really excited. And then like immediately, I was like, this is great. Like really fun pick. I'm just really glad we got a first round quality receiver that a lot of the analysts I trust the most really liked. And then I immediately like looked over at your guys' stream and I was like, oh my God, Angel and Sam were so high on their guys. And both of them were there. I'm like, they must be like at least a little crushed right now, because I would have been. I've been in that position where I'm like, this is my guy. this is who I really want, and he's there, and they go a different direction. I'm like, and
That
now
was
I'm like,
me with Emerald Freeling, and
now I have to hope. Like, I sure hope I was wrong, because this will be even more disappointing and irritating if the guy I wanted was like. And we'll talk about it. I have a segment at the end of the show, so we won't get too into it. And next week, I really want to go over these receivers and what Angel said, their scouting reports versus their analytics, and like what we got and what we missed. But I guess I would say, like, I think a lot of people are coming around to him, and I really like him. And to anybody out here who hasn't read his letter to the GMs that he sent out to every team before the draft, like, you have to go read that letter, because you're going to see his press conferences. You're going to see like what a terrible stutter he has. And like, you have to understand, like, this is not like a new thing for him, but like, it's very hard to read that letter. And it came out just a couple days, I think, before the draft. It's very hard to read that and not go, oh my God, I want this kid to absolutely crush it, because he had a really hard life. And it really like changed my perspective on him from being like, he's got like some drop concerns to like, I don't believe he'll ever quit.
Can I address the drop concerns from an analytical perspective? I'll make it simple. It is the targets in which you are getting at. The odds of you dropping more is high. So he was targeted 27% of the time. So he was the only one basically being targeted. So eventually you're going to drop passes. So here,
also,
you won't get that ball past you that many times on this offense. So I'm not too concerned about that.
And he does have a drop problem percentage-wise, but you're right. He's getting more targets, and also drops are counted as anything that's basically within your catch radius and reach. So it doesn't mean like every drop he has is right in his chest. It means like if he can reach out and try to get it and it bounces off his hands, it could be counted as a drop. The bigger issue for me, the bigger reassurance from me, was listening to a guy I really like that watched the film, and that's Matt Harmon, and also hearing a very similar thing from Todd McShay, who I really like the way he evaluates guys. Both of them said a lot of his drops, you have guys with drops like they were really nervous about Quentin Johnston that the Chargers picked a few years ago, because they said the reason he has these drops is he jumps at the catch point to get a ball, or he reaches his coordination, hand-eye coordination just doesn't seem as good as some of the other receivers, where he puts his arms in the right place. And they said that makes it tough to fix when it's like a guy just, has trouble physically catching the ball or small hands. And they said with Concepcion, they don't see that as a problem. It's more because he wants to make dynamic plays.
Yeah.
A lot of his concentration drops where he either started to turn his head to the defender, or he started to kind of like make his cut or move before he fully secured it. And that is, I'm not saying that's not a problem, but is at least a more fixable problem where physically he's capable of these catches. He just needs to dial it in. And that helped me a lot, because I was like, I was really nervous about Quentin Johnson, who a lot of guys wanted as next receiver. And he's coming around in Los Angeles for the Chargers a little bit, but like that problem has not gone away. And the guys like Matt Harmon said, I don't think it ever will, because I don't think I think it's a hand-eye coordination problem. I don't think he can get his hands where they're supposed to be. And for Concepcion, he doesn't catch it off his chest. He doesn't catch it off his forearm. He just needs to secure it before he tries his next move. And so again, it's still a concern, but like, it's not a panic for me. And I wonder if it's overplayed a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder too. He has to respond quickly, because he's basically the only person that probably can score on his team. So he feels like he always had to take it to the house. So it's like maybe some mental thing.
Dan,
but
real quick,
go ahead.
Does the drop concerns don't bother me, because he works in traffic a lot, and you're going to see this kid up the middle with the yak yards after getting catches.
He has a decent contested catch rate, and that's another thing they brought up. Guys who have drop problems that are related to them not getting their hands in the right place lose contested catches. He actually has a fairly good contested catch rate for a guy with drops, and again, that is at least a silver lining to somebody that has some drops.
Yeah, so we left kind of like, all right, I left like Omar Cooper went to the Jets, great. Sam had hope. His guy was still there in the second round.
Yeah, their guy
right.
was gone.
So I'm sitting on the couch, and their pick is up. And I was like, they're going to go with McNeil Warren here or Pons, right? Because it's corner safeties. That was my thinking. That's how
exactly
I
what I thought they were
board.
taking, a corner or safety.
Yeah. And then instead, Sam, what pick was picked at 39? And how did you respond when that pick happened?
I was I did a bunch of work around the house that day, and I told the wife, I said, hey, when 7 o'clock comes around, I want a big old pizza. I just want to sit on the couch and get ready for this draft. And we're sitting down, we're eating our pizza, the draft's coming on, and we're up, and I was texting group text with other friends of mine, and I was telling them, I'm like, because every pick prior, he didn't get picked. So I'm like, he's still there. He's still there. He's still there. And I'm like, man, let's see what happens. My wife got something, an alert on her phone or something, because she's into the football just as much as we are. She's like, I know who it is. I'm like, don't you dare say anything. Right? Don't you dare say anything right now. Then the pick came in, Joe Hayden up there, and Browns take my guy, Denzel Boston, man. And I had my windows open. It was nice out, and it's dark by this time. And I got my windows open, and all I did, I never got up off the couch, but every neighbor around here probably heard, let's effing go. Let's effing go. And I had goosebumps, man, that were just pulling straight off, man. And it was a great feeling, man. And yesterday's draft and everything just went like a woosah moment. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's get this going. Nice job, Andrew Berry, going wide. I didn't think they would go wide receiver back to back. I really did not think that.
Yeah, me neither.
But it was a great feeling, man. It was really good, and I was happy to be here at home and living it up with the wife with it. It was good, man. It was good. And then I pushed it aside, and I'm like, let's see what the rest is going to do. Let's see what Barry's got cooking now. So let's go.
It was a shocker. And honestly, like, it goes back to that Barry quote, like, you're not just picking for need, because they just picked a receiver, and what they needed was a receiver. And to him, like, that was probably just too much value to pass, and a different kind of receiver, which helps. I was floored. And then I was happy I think I sent something in the text right now. I was like, well, Sam's got to be freaking out. But I was like, and I don't think it could have happened the other way, because it just makes me feel like you probably aren't picking Denzel Boston. Like, you just don't know if it can even land the other way if you do it that way.
Yeah.
So some of that's fortunate, some of it's luck, some of it's knowing how the draft is going to fall. But I was surprised, and not in a bad way. I was pleasantly surprised, because I like the player too. Like I said, I had the other two guys ahead of him, but not by much, by like, just preference and development time. Because these bigger guys, for those that don't know, like, do tend to have like a higher bust rate than we talk about, and they do take a little time to really transition into the NFL game. But this puts Tillman on his toes, and it gives like a guy with a higher overall grade than Tillman.
Mike's Thrash might be out.
But I was just pleasantly surprised at the balls of Barry
to
do that.
Yeah.
I was just pleasantly surprised that this team has the balls to say, like, I don't care what anybody's going to say about this. We picked receiver already. We're just going to do it again. And I actually think that made the mock people, the analysts, the professionals, like it even more, because they're like, they assumed, but then Barry gave him a jab, was like, nope, taking the receiver. And Barry said on A50 today that it was a hard decision to make, because the next pick, before we get into the next pick, Mike, what was your take on Boston when it happened?
It's kind of the same as Sam's. We ordered pizza, and I'm sitting here, and boom, pizza comes up. Doors are wide open, and I'm yeah. I'm sitting at my
pizza
computer.
guy.
Amanda's at the couch. They're right there at the door.
It's like, wow.
Hopefully they're a Browns fan, so you can at least explain yourself.
And I was excited and texted Sam, and then James texted me, said Sam's happy, and then James texted Sam.
Everybody thinks it's Sam.
Yeah.
So I want to see Sam's cameras at his house for the reaction. I know he ran outside and ran the tree like 7 times or something.
I wish I should have had a reaction, man. It would have been pretty awesome. But like
and I
we
would
were
feel
talking,
worse. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Like we were talking, because we went offensive line, receiver. I was thinking offensive line. If they're really wanting to fix this line, I thought that's what they were going to do. If they picked a wide receiver
Guys
first,
there.
if they picked the wide, yeah, there was. And if they picked the wide receiver first in the draft, I thought they were going to go O-line, then receiver again.
Yeah.
But back-to-back receivers was, I'm telling you right now, that was Gangster by Andrew Berry. That was the sweep the leg moment, man, for me. I was like, wow, he swept the leg.
So for me, those picks make sense because they've been saying all year, all off season, explosive plays. We need explosive plays. We sucked at explosive plays last year. You have Casey Concepcion, who had an 8.6 offensive explosive play rate. Amazing. And then you have Boston, who's caught 10 of his 13 deep targets for 20 plus yards or more. That's 433 total yards. And 5 of his 11. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say that is a surprisingly high amount of deep plays for a guy that size. Like, that is an alarming amount of down the field plays for a guy that.
Yes, he's a deep target threat. Deep target. 5 of his 11 touchdowns last season, 5. That's almost half. Went from 40 yards or more.
Yeah.
Playmaker.
So what I'm saying is elite explosive play. So it makes sense why they stay. That's why Andrew Berry said on the radio today, Tony Rizzo said it must have been tough going to sleep because you had Denzel Boston still on the board and McNeil Warren. And Berry said it was tough because those are the two players that I did not think would be there when we were going to pick. Mm-hmm. And then he said picking Boston because the offense was a need. We need a receiver. He said the fact that McNeil Warren was still there, we had no choice but to trade what we had to trade to get McNeil Warren. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety from Toledo, was the next pick. And for me personally, I said, finally, we got our safety. We just got him later than I assumed. But the guy that I would like behind Downs was him. I said, man, I thought for sure. Team. Yeah, for this team. Yeah. I was like, this is A+ because you got, like Sam said, you got offensive tackle, you got your receivers for explosive plays, and now you got your third safety that's going to help this defense. He's going to be better than any receiver safety you can bring in, but I was pretty excited about him.
And I was saying before, and I was going to try to segue, but we still had to talk a little. That was the first moment where I was like, okay, so I was excited for me. I really liked Spencer Fano, and then I was pretty big on Casey Concepcion. Of Denzel Boston, you can't help but be like, bold move, amazing. And then I loved McNeil Warren, like loved him. He's definitely one of like my guys, but I also knew he were super huge on him. So that was the point that I had to stop. That I got to stop feeling bad for you, Angel, because I was like, the Angels guys keep getting passed up. They passed on McNeil Warren. They passed on. They passed on Downs. They passed on Cooper, and I was like, they just keep passing, on the guys that Angel really likes. And then they picked this guy, and I jumped off the couch. I mean, I screamed, and my wife was like, "What just happened?" I was like, So first of all, they traded up, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And she's like, "Oh man, they must really like somebody." And I was like, "It's got to be Emmanuel McNeil Warren."
Yeah, same.
And then they picked him, and I jumped off the couch, and she's like, "Is that the guy you were talking about?" And I was like, I could not have been more excited. But then I felt so much better for you, Angel, because I was like, now Angel like gets a guy that he was just like also obsessed over, and since he missed these other guys, it's finally all like coming around. And it wasn't just us guys, the fan base. I did out a Twitter poll, and the fan base, that was the turning point, I think, for the draft, not just Denzel Boston, but getting back up and getting McNeil Warren. We did that Twitter fan poll, and the day after the first round, I asked people to grade A, B, C, or D. And the poll had 50% of our guys, 50% of our fans picked the Browns to have an A, and 30% picked them to have a C or a D. So like that's a good amount of fans that were not optimistic about the the draft. Today's poll had 91% giving the Browns overall an A and only 9% giving them a B. So we went from 30% having a C or D to 100% having A or B. And I was like that, and it is like we said, because of the way that those 2 rounds played out.
Yep. I'll put it over my face. Nobody wants to see it. You guys can vote right here, right on the show right now. What would you grade the Cleveland Browns draft? Type in 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. Do it live. Do it live. I really like the McNeil Warren thing. I'm from Toledo, and to hear that kid had opportunity to go somewhere else and didn't, it kind of shows loyalty. We need some of that. And I like the pick. Obviously, he's a great safety. And like Angel said, Monken and them are going to do that big nickel package where they're going to have 3 safeties out in the backfield. You're going to need solid.
Yeah, I had a top 10 safety prospect list going on, and he was 3rd on my list. So I'm like, this is dope. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I had Caleb Downs, Dylan Thieneman, Oregon, and then I had Emmanuel McNeil Warren, and then it was AJ Housey, LSU, Bud Clark, but he was 3 on the list. So when we got him, I'm like, dog, keep cooking. I mean, Barry was doing his thing, man. So I was, we had it. We all knew that we had to do something either at cornerback or safety position. So he was hitting.
KP Young said he got his mock pick at 39 at 58, and that's a steal. And I think everybody kind of agrees that's a steal. And I think one of the big things you look at in a draft grade, since we haven't seen these guys play NFL football yet, is compared to where everybody thought they not could go but should go. When you can get those guys later, or they got 4 guys who piles of different analysts had a 1st round grade on. And I think all of them are going to contribute this year. And no matter how many picks you have in the draft, that's a pretty challenging task to pull off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Barry did good, man. Those are the picks. He got another tackle, which is he's pretty high. It's gonna probably eventually can become he's left tackle, probably, swing guy, develop him until
probably right away.
They're ready. Yeah.
And that's Austin Barber. I did
Austin
see
Barber.
really Nate Tice had a really nice review on him and said basically he played through, and this is a knock on him, he thought the reason he kind of fell, but also the reason for some upside is he played injured through a ton of this past year in college, and including playing like a bunch of games with like a huge elbow brace on. And he just said kind of props for him to continue, props to him to still have like a late 2nd, early 3rd round grade playing under those conditions. But also, the injuries are a concern. But if he's healthy, you're looking at a guy that could have probably played his way into the 2nd round, and you were able to navigate yourself pretty deep into the 3rd round to nab him up. And so, again, I don't think you should expect for him to be playing right away. But that's a guy who, once he gets healthy and if he can keep himself there, you've got a guy that can either be your swing tackle with some very high potential to eventually step in as a starter. And at least that's what they're thinking.
I read a story that even if hypothetically you want to move Fano to back to right, if you develop him, you can go back to left, or you can do the right thing with him, and then you have your right and left guard of the future in one draft.
Yeah, and you don't have to have the perfect positional value. Titus Howard has also played left tackle. So if you look at Bono and you're like, we do see him as a future left tackle, similar to Tristan Wirfs level, but we think he should start his career as right and really like get himself into it before he transitions. Like, it would not be the biggest shock in the world for them to try Titus Howard on the left, competing against DeJuan Jones and KT Levinson, and then Spencer Fano. I don't think one GM in the league would like blink at him being your starting right tackle day one. But what it sounds like from the Browns is they do see left tackle as his future, and so that's what makes that such an easy pick, probably.
Yeah. The only thing they changed about Barry's pick is that he's picking good the last 2 years, so that helps. A lot of people, I think maybe the collaborative thing had a lot to do with him trying to be sensitive and hear other people and trying to make. This is just my take. Maybe that's that pressure of like giving Kevin some guy or listening to somebody else. But I think him having full control the last 2 years shows what he can do with
For me,
the draft.
I constantly, I mean, the reason I posted that was because I saw so many people posting like, this is a good draft because we got rid of
Like
Di
two
Podesta.
people.
The irony is the whole pile of, or some people said Kevin Stefanski too.
Yeah.
Me, I just feel like what were our favorite picks in this draft? The
Offense.
2 1s and the 2 2s. Picks that Andrew Berry has just not been making for several years in a row. Last year, he picked 2 second-rounders and 1 first-rounder. This year, he picked 2 first-rounders and then traded up to pick 2 second-rounders. I just think that is, like, something that people should keep in their mind, that, like, maybe he didn't suck at this and just got good. Maybe he just now has the picks and the mobility to do what he's been trying to do this whole time. Like, he turned last year's first-rounder into a first, a second, and another first this year. He could have never done that for 3 years in a row because we didn't have picks and we didn't have good ones anybody wanted to trade up for. So I just think it's worth at least not just blaming the last drafts on Kevin Stefanski and Di Podesta, because the word from the draft room was like there was crazy analytical measurements going up on the TV the whole time. I've always said he drafts using analytics, but he drafts like a scout. He's always drafted like a scout, or else he wouldn't pick things like second round linebackers because analytics would not favor that.
Yeah.
But picks like a scout. He likes to stockpile late round picks for either trade backs or like giving up on older players. And then he likes to have a lot of mobility. And in the last 2 years, he's had the most ability to do what he's wanted to do the whole time. And we just haven't gotten a chance to see it. So I just hope this changes the narrative. And I don't think it should. I'm glad that people are on board with Barry finally, because we've always, I think, been a little higher on him than the consensus of Cleveland. But I just think
I want to figure out why he wanted to trade more than 3 first round or any round picks at a time. What was that about? What were you going to do? What was cooking in your little head there? I want to know why he wanted to trade more than 3.
That would be interesting to know.
I'm still glad Paul Di Podesta is gone.
Take that, Paul. Take that.
Sorry, I had to get those.
I don't think anybody misses him, honestly, but I do think Barry's still following that analytic model. It's not like he gave it up now.
He's just not as it's not as tight. I mean, you draft 2 receivers back to back. You're not following analytics too tightly. I mean, I
said that, but you draft 2 second round linebackers. I don't think you're following analytics that tight.
Yeah.
You draft a defensive tackle in the first round instead of like receivers. I don't think you're following analytics that tight. I just think he's never followed them as tight as people said. He uses them to predict what other people are going to pick or who might still be available. He did
that
bust.
very, very well this draft. That's why they were able to move back, and that's why they were able to get Casey Concepcion, and that's why he had to decide, if I don't pick Boston now, who's going to be gone? So Boston is he's going to be more desirable, and then he was able to somehow, by luck, get Warren there. Speaking of the war room, there's a story that was written by what female writer? I forgot her name. Forgot to write it down. Basically, it was like detailed by detail by detail of what happened in that war room with Andrew Berry and the Fano story. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'll do it. I thought it was really interesting because first of all, I was shocked. If you guys haven't read it, it's by Jory Epstein. She's a Yahoo Sports writer, and she was in the Browns war room during the draft. And I am blown away that they let a reporter in that room, given like the way they work and how secretive they are. But I thought it was kind of a cool story. She basically describes like, here's what's on each of the TVs, and then they have their big board, and it's labeled with draft, with like player grades and it's in order. It's ordered by like draft, like value, positional value, and there's every player's name has a color, and they have to do with like whether they think there's like an elite ability to develop or some kind of elite trait, or in the case of Spencer Fano, you find out in the story he was colored in orange, which means he's like an elite character. And I would suggest everybody read it, especially follow the show, because we use this kind of information to kind of like break some of these nonsense narratives of like what's happening in the draft room. It tells everybody that's involved. It tells the way he took phone calls. He apparently got about 6 or more first round offers coming in. So and that includes after the Giants trade, once they flipped back, and our Kansas City trade, once they flipped back, he got another 3+ calls to give up the 9th pick. And she even highlights that he answered one call and said, like, we'll see what's on the board. Let's wait. They called back. He basically like listened and then was like, not enough, and then hung up. And they just talked about how like the room didn't even question what the offer was because they trust that he's like very good at understanding draft value. So they didn't even question like, what did they offer? Should we call it? And he's like, they're lowballing us. And then he's like, and how they said like basically when they traded back at 6, like our number one target, even though we're trading back, is still Fano. The scouts were going on about how he's the best tackle in the draft. He's the best lineman in the draft. He's too athletic to pass up. He can play left or right. And like, it just gives you a really good feeling about like, guys, this was not any amount of just luck. Or they talk about how they have analytical models playing after each pick of what the percent chance they think each guy that they like might be there the next time they pick. And like,
that's why Boston went off first and the second. That's why they went for Boston, because they saw the analytic number and they was like, we got to get him because he's not going to be
that. If one of these guys will fall, be there. And there's reason to believe maybe that's why, if they really like Boston, they went Concepcion first, because they thought
Concepcion would have been there.
Concepcion over Cooper, which we didn't, but they clearly had Concepcion over Cooper. But you could even say like, what if they had Boston graded around the same? Well, they have these models that say, well, pick Concepcion because there's a much better chance Warren or Boston could be there later. And that's how they're helping them make these decisions and getting guys and trading around. So
yeah, I think
it's for everybody that hates analytics, it's really interesting read.
It is really, you could literally make draft day 2 out of it.
Yeah, it's a good article.
Sorry, go
ahead. And it shows the scouting portion. Like, he's not just sitting in the room like watching numbers. He's got scouts he's got the scouts right there, and their like whole draft team, including their, what do you call them? I forget the guy they hired to like help them like put together their board.
Oh, I forget what he's talking. Yeah.
He's like a consultant basically for them that Barry used to work with. And they're all talking about like, okay, do we believe in the athletic profile enough to take a guy here? What do we think? Does he fit our team? Like, they're still, even though they have this board all set up, talking about that stuff as it happens, because like they didn't know exactly who was going to be there. So
yeah,
and
I read an article today that Casey Concepcion was going to get picked by Seattle. They was going to get him. So obviously Browns probably had that intel. That's why they picked him at 24.
That story was kind of cool too, because it told you exactly how it was laid out in there. Like, they had the 5 screens up and the analytics popped up 5 to 10 seconds after each pick. It was kind of interesting to read it. For real.
You're not going to need a GM sooner or later. It's just a models. All right, we're going to end the show, but I want to end the show with this. You guys heard the story about the 182 pick, which ended up being the Tylen Green pick, the quarterback from Arkansas. Interesting story. It's a lot of ties to us. Matter of fact, it's a tie to us. August 25th, 2025, the initial acquisition. The pick originally belonged to the New York Jets. The Browns traded for that pick. They gave up Juan Briggs for a 6th-round pick and a 7th. Juan Briggs, they got a 6th. October 8th, 2025, the Cleveland Browns traded that 6th pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars for who? Tyson Campbell. And in the middle of all that, Jacksonville didn't keep it long. They flipped that pick, gave it to the Vegas Raiders as a part of the Jacoby Myers trade. Then the Raiders sent it to the Buffalo Bills for the Tyron Johnson trade. April 24, 2006, day 2 of the NFL draft this year. The Bills packaged that pick 182 along with 66 and sent it to the Denver Broncos so Buffalo could move up and pick number 62. And then day 3 of the NFL draft, the pick returns to the Browns. The Broncos traded 182th pick and 187th pick back to the Browns in exchange for 152, in which Denver used to get tight end Justin Jolly. In the final result of pick 182, the Browns turned in a card for Arkansas quarterback Taylon Green. Ladies and gentlemen, we've always had that 182 pick. Barry used it, got a lot of assets out of it, and then got it back and got what could potentially, if we lightning strikes more than once, maybe a future quarterback for your Cleveland Browns.
So basically, it's draft Uno. We're gonna forward, reverse,
Crazy,
and then we're gonna
Isn't that crazy?
hit you with the draw 4, and then I'm gonna reverse it again.
So it went through. It went through. You had the pick. You gave it away, and under 6 months, you got it back, and you drafted a quarterback.
It changed hands like 7 times too. It's crazy enough that like this was originally a Browns pick and it came back to them. The fact that it changed hands like 6 times along the way is so crazy. And like I think I told you guys before the show, I wanted to go in the show and open it with like, let's just go over like all the crazy draft trades, like starting last year to this year and where they came and went. And then I kept getting lost in them because they're like they traded back to 9. They grabbed a 6th, or they grabbed a 3rd and a 5th, but then they end up trading their 3rd away and then trading the other 3rd away also, and then trading back into the 3rd. And I was like, I got lost. Like I tried to follow it and I could not follow all the picks that the Browns moved back and forth. So I was like, okay, scratch that segment. Like I can't even figure it out when I'm looking at it. It was so crazy the way they moved around. But in the end, they ended up with a good amount of picks. They did what I love, and that's like I hate trade backs where you're like just building back capital and then just taking way too many people low. But I do love the way they use some of those picks to trade back up. Like they traded back with that pick to get a 3rd and a 5th, and then they traded a 3rd and a 4th to get back into the 2nd and an additional 6th. And in the end, they got a ton of talent. They also got to use plenty of picks for like backside depth and development. Yeah. And then next year, I think we talked about now, because they were one of the very few teams to get multiple future 2027 draft picks, because people are way overhyped about that draft. But the Browns found a way to get next year's draft having a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, 3 4ths, including 2 they picked up in this draft, 2 5ths, and then 2 7ths. And so, that gives them, it is a long way in the future, but it gives them so much more future mobility to try to like get back up in rounds where they think they need it, or step back where they think they don't, because now they've got so much capital. And so that's pretty exciting to see, like the way Andrew Berry has developed as a GM and the way he's like sets up the current team, but always keeps like doesn't trade away the future to get there.
Yeah. I want to touch on one thing. I know we're getting out of here. I thought it was super cool. I know that undrafted free agent signings, those guys can just probably be fillers through camp.
Give us that picture, Mike.
And what I liked, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. When I heard that they brought over Logan Fano, edge, I was like, that's cool. I'm like, you know what? I said, everybody's a long shot, if coming in undrafted free agent. But how sweet would that be if this guy can end up being a part of this team with his brother? And I had to look it up because I'm like, when's the last time we had 2 brothers actually on the Cleveland Browns? And I looked it up, and it was 1974. That was before me, too. It was Golster Richardson was a wide receiver, and tight end Ernie Richardson were the last brother duo here in Cleveland. So when I happened to see the Fano brothers linking to Cleveland, I was big. I was like, that's pretty dope, man. Hopefully that kid can turn out and be part of this team with his brother.
for those watching, just to be completely transparent, I made this graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is from them at Utah. They did do this. This is not like I didn't create the picture. This picture exists. They literally did this for a photo shoot at Utah, and I just threw Browns jerseys on them after they picked up Logan because I was like, this is too much fun. I need to have fun with this. It's one of our most popular posts on social media. But I do think, like, what a fun story that they're there. We've gotten some hits from people, from fans of that team, who are like, wait till you see these two. Like, it is all business in the weight room, all business on the field, and nothing but like shenanigans once they're in the locker room and like out in public. And I just like, that's such a good thing for the Browns culture, because the locker room is uptight. The work ethic has not, been where we wanted it. So to have like a duo that can bring like some fun, but also like some just incredible work ethic is just such a fun story. I hope he makes the team. The statistics say an undrafted free agent has just about, if not better, chance to make a team than a 7th round pick. So that's kind of exciting. And another fun note is, like, one of them's a tackle and one of them's a pass rusher. That's been awesome. I didn't even realize that they've been just probably practicing against each other for years now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One more thing real quick. You guys know it. Go and vote for us for the Scene magazine. Go to vote.clevelandscene.com. Hit the people and places. Go to category people and places. Select sports podcast. And then type in Bearded Browns podcast. It's that simple, right?
It's easy.
And once a day. It's not just once. Once you're on there, once a day. Tell all your people. Tell your friends. Tell your grandma. Tell everybody. Get up on there and let's get these posted.
We're trying to repeat. We're trying to repeat here, people.
Yep.
It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. The competition is heavy for Cleveland sports shows. Y'all know Cleveland probably has more sports shows, especially Browns shows, than like any city in the entire country has for their football team. So ton of competition, a ton of really good competition out there. There's a lot of shows that even I like, and heck, I don't like that much. So
just this
appreciate all you guys in the comments, man, and thanks for the support. And see you down there, Dan's every morning. Dan's voting every morning. Be like Dan. Vote every morning. Be like Dan. Eipenhower. It's Ebert. I'm sorry. There's a story behind that. That's funny. But yes, man, go out, vote, please, man. And let's two-peat. Let's go.
Yes. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Dick's House of Sport, Allstate, Rust Belt Automotive, Bearded Bastards Barbecue Sauce, Cleveland Ketchup, and Rest and Renew Counseling. Everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Angel, you want to send us off?
Go Browns. Yeah.
Oh, sounded really enthralled with that one. That was probably the weakest. You got to redo that. I'm not even going to end it on that note.
Go Browns. No more draft talk. Let's go.